morning, all.
Good morning.
I'm to refresh you on the retirement procedure of your research grant. I'm aware you've been taking through the guidelines, but it is good to refresh our minds because you'll be retiring to WASCAL, CC, and HH. And for us to be on the same page, you have to be properly guided, and that's what necessitated this tutorial this morning. I'm sharing the screen. I don't know if you can view it from there.
We can.
Okay, thank you. So the title is Research Budget Guidelines for WASCAL, CC, and HH students. Presented by the FO. Objective: to brief the student about the rules and regulations of WASCAL relating to the research budget. As you are all aware that your total research budget is 10,000 euros, which includes 2,000 euros for your laptop. I believe after your language courses, you were all given a laptop, and you are left with 8,000 euros cumulatively. Budget allocation. As you are all aware, your total research grant for fieldwork is 8,000 euros. And this table shows that how the fund is to be allocated. For your literature review, 10%. Data acquisition, 20%. Equipment, 5%. Field work, 20%. Data analysis, 5%. Final editing and printing, 5%. And travels, because many of you will have to travel to location, your site research location.
Sorry, sir. Please, excuse me, sir. Please, can you do full screen sharing so that you can see it very well? You can't see it very well, please. Let it be full so that you can see it very well. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Hello, sir.
Yep.
Yes. For the percentage, if you make the summation, it is not 100. It is 95%.
95%. Whatever, if you are having 95%, then it will be 10% for literature review. It will be 10% of 95%. Are we together?
I did. No, I say if you make the summation here, it is not 100. It is 95%. You see it?
Yes. I can get it now.
Okay, it is just what I.
Okay, I will get back to you, and I will confirm from Daniel and get back to you.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. But I believe you people are taking through this in the process of your induction.
Yes.
Good.
Yes, sir.
As you are all aware, in the course of your research budget, you may intend to buy camera, GPS, and the rest. But one thing is certain, that any equipment you purchase in the course of your fieldwork, which is above 200 euros, remains the property of WASCAL, CC, and HH. Are we together?
Yes, sir.
Any equipment in the course of your field work valued above 200 euros remains the property of WASCAL, CC, and HH. That is for the graduate research program. Any question on that? Similarly, some of you will want to get meteorological data and so on and so forth. If it is above that amount, it remains property of WASCAL. Any data purchased using research budget fund remains the property of WASCAL. Can we move on? This is very key. And can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
sir.
please.
Good. The financial report format as provided by WASCAL must be strictly followed. When research grants have been transferred to you, first batch, second batch, or third batch, when you are retiring, your bank statement must be attached, highlighting the amount received as research advance. For example, ACRA will transfer your research grant to you. Assuming you receive 4,000 euros or 5,000 euros, as the case may be, when you are retiring that amount, you must attach your bank statement. Are we together? Now, for Francophone, I know your bank will convert the euro to CFA. And in the course of that, you have to get the value, the equivalent of the CFA in euro when you are retiring. For Nigerian students, you will be paid in euro. And due to exchange rate fluctuations, for example, today is 11th November 2020. You may have euro at 420 naira to 1 euro today. Tomorrow, it might be 450 euro. So there are fluctuations. To have a unique exchange rate, you can use Rwanda exchange rate. You can use Rwanda exchange rate. You get it online to convert your euro to naira. And the receipt of Rwanda must be presented where you get your exchange rate when retiring. All expenses in financial report must be glued or sellotaped to A4 sheet, A4 sheet paper or paper sheet. When you are retiring, there are some receipts that are not up to A4. We all know photocopy paper, right? That's what A4 look like, A4 paper, that's what it is. So there are some receipts that are tiny or very small. For example, a ticket or fuel receipts or others. They are not up to A4 paper. So what you will do is to look for a sellotape, not gum, not liquid gum, but a sellotape. Look for A4 paper, put the receipt on it, and sellotape it. I will show you an example later. Having expended your research grant and you want to retire, all your receipts must be numbered according to the Excel in the financial report. I think, let me go and show you the examples, how Excel sheet will look like. Can we all see the Excel sheet?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah. This is a sample of how the Excel sheet will look like. And this is how you'll be returning your receipt one after the other. You can see from the first column, number, date, details, beneficiaries from vendor, check number or bank ID number, amount charged in local currency, abbreviation, exchange rate to euro, amount in euro, credit in euro, and balance in euro. This sheet is mainly for those who will be carrying out their research in Nigeria. This sheet is mainly for those who will be carrying out their research in Nigeria. So, having gotten all your receipts, we key it into Excel sheet, one after the other, stating the date on the receipt. For example, this is a retirement done in 2017 by one of the students. You put the period, maybe from April or November to November 2020 to, let's say, April 2021, when you will be retiring, you put it here. That's accounting period. We have a portion here, author/contact info. You put in your name here and your phone number. Your name and your phone number. For example, Okele Sunday want to do his retirement. Get your receipt ready, and then you enter the date. For example, you travel from Ibadan to Ilorin or to your research location. How much did you spend? You put travel from so from point A to point B in this column. Then, who did you pay the money to? Which transport? Is it Peace Transport or God is Good Motors? Good, thank you, sir. God is Good Motors. So the mode of transportation is maybe by road. If it is by air, then you put Arik air there. Do you pay through check or in cash? If it is check, you have to state the check number. If it is cash, you put cash here. Amount charged in local currency. This is Naira, 5,000 Naira. 5,000 Naira. Here, this is Nigeria, which is Naira. Stands for Naira NGR, Nigeria. If it is Francophone, we use SEFA. Then, exchange rates. What is the exchange rate? Is it 334, 450, or 500 to an euro? You state it here. Then the value in euro will give you this. For example, this person spent 5,000 naira for traveling. The exchange rate stood at 334.56.
62.
And the value in euro is 14.94. So the equivalent of 5,000 in euro is 14.94. Credit in euro gives you 14.94. However, before we get there, the total amount you received in euro transferred to you as research grant must first be stated. Like this student received 1,313 euros as research grant. This is the total amount received, which must be shown in your statement. Now, he has spent 14 euros for traveling. You less 14 euro from the total amount received, which will give you 1,298.6 euros. Then you do same to all expenditure incurred. You impute it in the sheet, the Excel sheet, until the last receipt is imputed. Having done that, you will now do a summary of the total amount. Total sum received in euro, 1,313 euros, which must be equivalent to equal to this. This must be equal to this. It must be same. Total expenditure in euro. How much did you expend in euro? You sum up all this, which will give us 1,331 euros and 35 cents. So here is it. You less the total funding in euro. Okay, you less the total expenditure from the total funding in euros. This is your balance. This balance may arise as a result of fluctuation in exchange rates. So it's not automatically that when you get negative balance, you'll be refunded. But your money must be judiciously expended and reasonably spent. Any question on that? Aswani Bare and Okele, you are from Nigeria. Any question?
Yes, I have a question, sir.
I'm listening.
Okay, in a situation whereby you don't get receipt for any activities or any expenditure, so how will you go about it?
When we get there, we cross the bridge.
Okay.
You have to raise a memo. I will show you the sample.
Noted.
Thank you. For the Francophone.
Yes, please. Me, I have a question. Fomba.
Fomba, as a third
Yes.
patient, I will get back to you. Let me take the Francophone sheet.
Okay. About your slide, if the expense incurred period to receive of the budget, for example, my trip from Mina to Mali is already, it was last September.
Yes.
But we receive our budget now. Is it possible to maintain the date because we will receive the budget in November? And my course was doing for travel, for example, the first. Hello?
Your line is breaking.
Hello?
Yes, Fomba?
Yes, we hear you.
Yes, I said the expense incurred period to receive of the budget.
Yes.
For example, my trip from Mina to Mali, it was last time on September.
Yes.
But how I can justify this trip? Because it was the past.
Yes. I think what I can say for now is that most of you left before the time.
Yes.
Most of you left before the time. And to get clearance, we have to get clearance from Accra if that expenses will be justified.
Okay.
Yeah. So we have to liaise with the accountants and director of capacity building to see how we can resolve that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So this is the second Excel sheet, which is mainly for the Francophone countries. As earlier said, the heading remains the same. For the entries, we have to look at it one after the other. The total amount received for the period, you state it. Then we move to entries of your expenses. For example, this student traveled on 30th April 2017, and the transportation expended round trip from Maradi to Niamey. I think this student should be from Niger. The vendor or the beneficiary to whom the payment was made is Autoge de Maradi, and the student paid in cash. He paid 64,000 CFA as transportation fare. What is the exchange currency used? He made use of CFA. Here is it. He made use of CFA. And what was the value of 64,000 CFA in euro? It was 97.71. However, Francophone countries has unique exchange rates because the central bank of the country converted the euro or forex to the local currency. So you can see this is 655. This 155 CFA to 1 euro. So for him to have expended 64,000 CFA, the equivalent is 97 euro 71 cents. Then we bring it, this is the total amount, and we less it from amount received. You have a balance of 1,535.29. The same you do for all the expenditure incurred, which are received or unreceived, but with memo. Having done that, you will now number the receipts according to what you have on your Excel. The receipt number 1 must be for transportation. Receipt number 2 must be for hired motorbike for transportation. Receipt number 3 must be for the purchase of fuel. So it must follow in that manner or in that order. It must be serially done. What you have in your Excel, the receipt must follow suit. Any question on that, Francophone? Can we proceed?
Yes, it is okay by me.
Thank you. So, electronic copies of the Excel file must be submitted. A PDF format will not be accepted. We will want it submitted in Excel as been shown unto you, not a PDF format. Please note that. All expenses must be justified by a receipt. All expenses must be justified by a receipt. No verbal payment. all expenses incurred must be receipted. Now, according to Okeleye's question, expenses with no receipt must have a memo approved by supervisor or directors of the DRP. Any expenses you incur without receipt, for example, you are a miner, you took Okada or Kabu from University Gate to your hostel. You don't expect, or the Okada man may not have receipt to give you. Are we together? Some of you will go into the field, remote area where you meet the locals, and you will pay field assistance some token. They may not have receipt to give you. Now, what is the way out? The way out is you raise a memo justifying that expenses and sign it, countersigned by your director or your supervisor. That is to show the authenticity of that expenses. I will show you the format of the memo, which I will forward to you later in the day.
Hello, please, dear Edward.
I'm hearing.
Yes, about supervisor, is the both or because I didn't see supervisor in plural?
It should be one supervisor.
Okay, amen.
You have supervisor in your home country, is there to justify the expenses. It's not
Okay.
your fault for your major supervisor here.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. So this is how the memo will look like. Can we see it?
Yes, sir.
Are we all seeing it?
Yes, please.
Now, for example, Audrey went to the field and met with some locals, for which he went with her a field assistant. Having done the job, she paid the field assistant some token. Now, the field assistant doesn't have receipt to give you. For you to justify such expenses, you put in your name from that's the name of Audrey, even though I know one name is still missing. Then, carbon copy, you are copying your supervisor, either major or co-supervisor. You put the name of your supervisor, let's say Dr. Emmanuel Is it Umaru, sir? I think it's Umaru. Okay. So we have your supervisor here. You put the name, the date of the transaction. Today's date, 11/11/2020. Purpose, payment for field assistance. If it is maybe transportation, you put transportation here. You put transportation, that's the purpose. Now, but for this, for the sake of this, I would prefer using field assistant. Now, what is your comment? I certify that I paid 20,000 naira to the following one, let's say Mr. Okele, 5,000. Mr. You put your name in full, please. Mr. Jerry, 2,000. So the total of the amount must be equal to the 20,000 stated here. It must be equal to 20,000 stated here. Are we together? So when you finish, you sign. You are the one that incurred the expenditure. You sign here, and your supervisor or the director will sign here. Your supervisor will countersign here, or your director. That is it for the expenses incurred without receipt. You have to present this memo to justify such expenses. Thank you. Any question? Any feedback? Any question?
Please, sir.
Yeah.
I would like to know, will it be e-copy or it has to be hard copy? Is this soft copy or hard copy now? This particular one?
It must be hard copy.
Okay.
It must be hard copy, originally signed by a supervisor or director.
Okay.
Thank you.
Then also, sir, for us to retire this, how we go to, for those people who are not in Nigeria or for those of us who are not in Minna, if we want to retire this document, the receipt, how we go to go about it? Are we going to send it?
You will have the original copy with you. Are we together?
Okay.
You will have the original copy with you. Perhaps you may be asked to DHL it down. Are we together?
Yes.
You will be asked to DHL it down to Minna because we must ensure that we see the original copy tallying with your Excel sheet. Is that taken?
Okay. Noted. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. 75% of the research advance expenditure returns must be submitted to DPR school together with a formal letter of additional fund request from research budgets. When you finish your research grants, you retire immediately, and then you forward a request for additional funds when you've expended 75% of your research grants. That is clear and direct. Total expenditure must be equal to the amount transferred in euro. You can see from the Excel sheet, that's why we did that analysis. What you are being given must be equal to your expenditure. Must be equal to your expenditure. All reports must first be submitted to the DPR school for approval. Every 10 kobo that you spent must be duly accounted to me. All your expenses must be forwarded to me, the financial officer of the DPR, after which I will forward it to the director for our own observation and approval before sending it to Accra. All research advances must be fully accounted for, and any differences transferred to WASCAL headquarters in Accra office. I think this is clear. If you have balance, perhaps you are giving 1,000 euro and you spend 800 euros. The balance of 200 euro will be transferred to the headquarters, to Accra. All research advances must be accounted for 1 month prior to completion or graduation from the program. Before you graduate, 1 month to the day of graduation or completing your program, all your expenses must have been retired. All. so that if there are any differences, we'll be able to resolve it and then before the passing out. Allowable and unallowable expenses. This is very, very important. Allowable and unallowable expenses. Allowable and unallowable expenses. Allowable and unallowable expenditure items of research budgets. All receipts must be submitted to DRP Center for pre-auditing and approval. As earlier mentioned, you have to forward all your receipts to me and the Excel sheet. I look into it, forward it to the director, who will give our own consent by approving it. All expenses related to feeding, DSA, or personal allowances or personal allowance are not allowed by WASCAL. For example, you travel from your location to the research location or to the field, and you are paying yourself DSA. That will not be allowed. That will not be allowed. You don't need to pay yourself DSA because that's why you are on stipend. Or you go to Mama Put, you eat amala. That will not be allowed. That's personal expenses. It doesn't have any relationship between you and between we don't have a relationship with the field work. So you must justify all the expenses and ensure that they are reasonable. Purchases of equipment, camera, GPS, and scientific related equipment must first be approved by your DRP director or coordinator and supervisor with email attached to the expenditure receipt. This is very, very, very important. When you are to incur any equipment, anything that has to do with assets, camera, GPS, I've made mention of it before, at least anything that is above 200 euros becomes the property of WASCAL. However, before you embark on it or you purchase it, you need the consent of your supervisor and the director. Your supervisor and the director. By what? By sending email to the director. Ma, please, I want to purchase a camera at so-so cost from so-so place, and this is it. If possible, you attach the invoice. Same mail, you copy your supervisor. So when you have their consent and it's favorable or approval was given or is given, you proceed to purchase such equipment. If you do that contrary to this provision, you are on your own. You will refund the money back to WASCAL. All equipment purchased above 200 euros remains the sole property of WASCAL of the DRP Center after graduation. Immediately you are stepping out, you have to drop the equipment you purchase above 200 euros. It becomes WASCAL property. All equipment purchased not related to the research work will not be accepted in the student financial report. Any equipment you buy that doesn't have any relationship with your field work will not be accepted. And that's why it's very important to liaise with your supervisor and director, because they know that you will be properly guided if such equipment will be necessary or not. Students who refused to undergo clearance for equipment purchased during their field work will have their certificate withheld. You can see how important it is to liaise with your supervisor and the director before buying any equipment. That's why this issue is being emphasized. You have to get that clearance. And when you are retiring, you attach the email for such approval. Certificate of honor. Certificate of can hear this now. However, these expenses must be countersigned by the supervisor or director or coordinator / accountant of the DRP Center. So when you are retiring, I've made it easy by providing that memo. It will ease your work. is the same thing as certificate of honor. All expenses must relate to research activity as planned in the student's initial budget. Your expenses must be related to your fieldwork. All expenses should be matched against budgeted expenditure at each reporting period. When you are reporting, this is what you spend on literature review. This is what you spend on data collection. This is what you spend on traveling. So you itemize it. You itemize it. That's what this means. You itemize it. All unused funds after research work will be paid back to WASCAL before graduation. It has been mentioned before that any expenses you incur, any balance that is left from your total research grant, you will refund it back to Accra, WASCAL headquarters. And I will give example by saying 1,000 is transferred to you as your research budget. You spend 800 euros. The balance of 200 euros have to be refunded back to Accra. And engagement of field assistance for field work must not be more than 50% of student stipend. You all know what your 50% is. Not that you go to the field and you say you are spending 400 euros on field assistance. That's too much. So you must, your stipend, it must not be more than 50% of your stipend, which is 175 euros, I guess. Unauthorized equipment above 200 euros will not be accepted in student accounting. Unauthorized, if you buy any equipment which is above 200 euros and not authorized by your supervisor or director, will not be accepted. Take note of that. Very, very important. However, any questions so far?
Sir, I have a question, sir.
Good.
Sir, I want to know the engagement of this field assistant. I want to know is he what per research assistant or for all of them that must not exceed 50% of the stipend? Is it for one research assistant?
What do you mean by all of them? Research assistant comes, wait, let me come in. Research assistant comes in, for example, you are going to a location, you don't hear their language. Huh? You don't hear their language. You need locals that will help you communicating and translating between the two of you. So you can't come back and say you are paying a research assistant 400 euros. Are we together? Which is above your 1 month stipend. Okay.
Okay.
Hello, please, dear Edward.
Yeah.
Yes, I want to understand more this part. Engagement of field assistant for field work. You said you cannot pay more than 50% of the stipend students. Is
yes.
it true? For example, yes. If you have a 2,000, for example, for your stipend.
Yeah. 2,000 for stipend?
Yes. For example, we can take 100 euro for the assistance.
Yes.
Is possible.
Yes.
Okay, if it is possible, it is per day or by day or by month.
I think it should be per month.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
So I want to show you, there is a point where receipt we have to glue our receipt on A4 paper. So I want to show you how that will look like by giving an example of that. And I made mention, you don't need to use liquid gum. You have to use a sellotape. So I want to show you an example of that. Receipt. So this is a receipt for the purchase of an item, face mask. You can see the tiny portion here. This is how the receipt look like. The back here, this is the A4 paper. So you place, as long as the receipt is not up to this size of A4 paper, you have to place it on an A4 paper and sellotape it. If you look very well, you will see a sellotape here, a sellotape here. I sellotape this receipt on A4 paper. You can see under it, there is sellotape here. There is sellotape here. This will give room for easy duplicating. Then you can see number. This receipt is number 8, just as you were told, or you were earlier told, that you have to number your receipt serially. So this is how it will look like when you glue it on A4 paper.
Okay, please. Edward, please, is it possible to put 2 receipts on one paper A4?
No. What you can do is, for example, I will not even suggest that.
Okay.
I will not suggest that, because
okay.
if I do that, it may be muddled up. So make it each receipt on one A4 paper.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So we've come to the end of the tutorial. If you have any other question, you can let me know so that we rub our minds together.
Sir.
Yeah.
Hello, sir.
I'm hearing you.
Okay, sir. I want to ask, is it possible for you to send some of the materials you use for us so that we also look at them, so that we follow them to this straightly, so that there will be no mistake? For example, out of the PowerPoint, the Excel sheet and so on, so that we look at it critically and we follow the example.
I will.
Thank you, sir.
That is noted. I will send forward it to you. So, any other thing? Any other question?
Hello.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Yeah, it is Ibrahim.
Ibrahim, how are you?
Yes, I'm fine, and you?
I'm fine.
Okay. I want to know, because my case is particular, because I want to know if my maximum budget is 10,000 or 8,000, because I didn't receive my laptop.
I think you were told to include it in your research budget. Did you do that?
Yes, I put for my research budget I put 10,000.
You put 10,000 naira, 20,000 euros.
Yes.
Then Accra will respond to you at the appropriate time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hello. Hello.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, good morning, sir.
Love Valentine.
Yes.
Happy to hear from you.
Me too. I would like to know about the justification of the 75% of the budget.
75% of the budget?
Yes, the justification. Is there any deadline for that, or it depends on each student's expense?
I will advise you, as soon as you expended your money, retire it. Don't waste time or wait until all of you are on the field. You will not finish the same time.
Okay.
Some will come earlier, some will come faster, some will come at later day. So as soon as, depending on the speed at which you move, as soon as you expended your research budget and you are due for retirement, please retire it.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. So, having come to the end of the tutorial, as for your stipends, please hold forth. I pray before the week runs out, all of you will be paid. And wishing you all the best and best of luck in the field.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.